Hello students, hope you are all fine. In today's session, I am here to start with the chapter that is secondary sector. You all know that for economic growth and economic development, we are in need of three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary sector. In primary sector, we discussed a sector which depends upon natural factors. We discussed in detail about agriculture. To start with secondary sector, I am here to tell you that what is the meaning of secondary sector. What is the meaning? Secondary sector, that is a sector which is dependent upon man-made factors, human factors. What are these human factors? It means I am going to make use of human being as a main factor in that. Anything which is manufactured by human beings that comes in secondary sector. It means in secondary sector, the other name of secondary sector, manufactured sector, as an example, I am here to discuss about industries. The way we discussed about agriculture in primary sector, in the same way, on the same track, in secondary sector, the biggest contribution, the biggest example is industries. What is an industry? Industry is nothing. It is a place. What this place is meant for? Where I am going to have an activity. Which activity? That is to have production. What do we mean by production? You all know this thing. Production means a process. And in that process, what I am going to do? I am going to convert my raw material to final good. So this is all about your secondary sector. As an example, we are discussing here about industries. And what are industries? Industry is a place where a production process is going on with the help of machines, tools, equipments. And what this process is meant for? That is the preparation of, that is the production of final goods. Students, as we have just seen that in secondary sector, we are here to discuss about industries. So first of all, we will discuss about meaning of industries in detail. Exactly what we are going to have in industry. Industries or industrialization. Industry is a place. And in this place, what I am going to do, I am converting animal labor, replacing animal labor with what? With human labor. And human labor with electricity. Electricity, and what else I am going to do? I am going to make use of machines. So where this process is going on, where I am going to make use of latest technology, electricity, machines, no use of labor. Which labor I am talking about? Animal labor. And less use of human labor. That is to be called as industry. So in secondary sector, when we are going to discuss about industries, I am here to tell you that we can have various types of industries. There can be small industries. There can be large industries. And there can be cottage industries. In India industrial structure, we have got all these type of industries. what is a small industry, what is the importance of cottage industry, and which industries are to be called as large industry. The variation, the definition, the amount varies from time to time. Before we are going to discuss about its definition and its contribution, overall, how industries are important for us. What is the importance of industries for India? We are here to discuss that. Industries. What we are here to discuss about its importance in detail. To start with, of course, if I do have an industry, what I am going to have? I will have full utilization of resources. You all know that a rational economy is aiming for this point only. That is, I need to have a full utilization of resources. To start with, full utilization, if I am going to have a full utilization, so what will happen? There will be employment opportunities. Because when I am going to exploit resources, it means there is going to be more production, and more production means there will be more employment. And if there is more employment, what will happen then? Of course, there is a rise in your per capita income. Students, you are all familiar with this word. I am not going to explain you what is a per capita income, an average income of a person, of an economy. So, these are the major things. And if an economy has got full utilization, if it has got employment, if it has got high per capita income, so ultimately what does this mean? That economy will have economic growth as well as economic development. And this is what we are ultimately aiming for. If a question comes, what is the importance of industrialization? You are here to give these points: full utilization of resources, employment opportunities, and if there are employment, definitely it will reduce poverty. Per capita income will get high, and if per capita income is high, your quality of life is going to be improved, and I will have economic growth as well as economic development. You need to explain these points in detail for 5 marks. With this, we are here to discuss that how agriculture and industries are dependent upon each other. We have already seen that there are 2 sectors main. The first is primary, and the second one we have got secondary sector, and they both are interdependent on each other. We have already seen that how primary sector is dependent upon secondary sector. How this primary sector is dependent upon secondary sector. Now what we are here to see, what is the importance of this secondary sector on primary sector. That is the thing which we have to check it out, that how primary sector is, how secondary sector is important for primary. To start with, secondary sector gives what? Secondary sector gives all kind of required tools and machines to the primary sector to be used by farmers, to be used by agriculture sector. Then what secondary sector gives? It gives a variety of goods to be used by primary sector. Most important thing, they are going to provide you infrastructure. Infrastructure means I am going to give you transportation. Secondary sector is going to give a communication facilities, roads, dams, bridges, which are required for primary sector. And above this, secondary sector is going to have what? Secondary sector is going to absorb labor. primary sector is overpopulated, overcrowded. So this extra volume of primary sector, surplus labor of primary sector is going to be adjusted by whom? By secondary sector. So this is these are the points how secondary sector contributes for the development of primary sector. They both are considered as complementary to each other. Because primary sector, if primary sector gives raw material to secondary sector from that raw material make goods which are to be used by primary sector. And to convert this raw material, secondary sector needs so many things. Labor. Who is going to provide labor to secondary sector? That is by primary. And primary sector to make the process fast, to have fast growth, cultivation, they need tools, tractors, drillers. It is all going to be provided by secondary sector to primary sector. So a question can come that how primary and secondary sector are dependent upon each other. Infrastructure is basically an example of a tertiary sector, because tertiary sector is your service sector. So when I am going to discuss about interdependence of primary and secondary sector helps tertiary sector to make this infrastructure, to give this infrastructural facilities. So it is a joint effort. Independently in an economy, if we are here to see that primary sector can make us fast or primary sector give us a number one position globally, it's not possible. Neither to primary sector nor to secondary sector or to tertiary sector. All the time it is to be a joint effort and they are here to help each other. How they are helping each other, we have already seen this thing. Hope it is clear.